Hello, everybody.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
We have something fairly interesting.
Oh, yeah. But first, we got M&M lights. Don't know if you can see those very good or not.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
What we have is an upcoming Watchtower study article.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, who sent me the link to this article, because Mike and I have been ranting for 2 days now.
But before we go on with this, this is all in the theme of children. I want to thank, Blackjack for shouting out to us and calling us his adoptive white grandparents.
Godparents.
Godparents, yes. Thank you. Wonderful interview. And it's really nice to see that the YouTube community is absolutely having an effect on helping Jehovah's Witnesses come to their senses, along with what Watchtower's doing themselves. And a lot of it is Watchtower nonsense. And one of the biggest things for Blackjack, well, I'm going to refer to him as Blackjack because I kind of like that name.
Well, that's his actual nickname.
Was the Australian Royal Commission when they put governing body member Jeffrey Jackson on the stand. And it's pretty easy to see that Jackson was lying through his teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Just to save the save face of the Watchtower Bible Tract Society and not publicly paint the monsters that they truly are. And we've also heard Dan and Anna's disfellowshipping inquiry. And during that process, Dan had made a comment that the Watchtower Bible Tract Society has encouraged Jehovah's Witnesses to remain single, to remain childless, so they can give more to Jehovah. And I don't remember the exact words coming from the elders, but the elders indicated that Watchtower has never done that.
Yeah, it was like no big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal.
And we have further proof with an upcoming Watchtower that they're going to try to sell the same bullshit again.
Oh, yeah. So I want to give a shout out and hi to Blackjack and Julian. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's Julian Watson YouTube channel. And it's POP.
Yeah, POP.
Policy Over People with Blackjack.
Yeah.
And it's a very good interview. And it was quite disturbing to hear that they say nothing about a registered sex offender in their congregation, but yet when their tool shed is broken into, they immediately call the police and file a report.
Yeah, exactly.
Does anybody else see something wrong with this?
Yes.
My goodness. Okay, so like Mike said, we've got the April 2016 Study Watchtower, and oh boy, my goodness. Don't even need M&Ms for this.
I know. What's it entitled?
It is called Being Faithful Leads to God's Approval, and it starts on page 5. And right in the first paragraph, I'm going to read this sentence. This really ticked me off. The article is about Jephthah's daughter, and how Jephthah comes back from war, and he says, whoever's the first one to come to greet me, I'm going to dedicate to Jehovah. So she comes running out, and he says, "Oh no, my daughter, you have broken my heart." Okay, now wait for it. Then he utters the words that change her life forever, shattering her dreams and hopes of a normal life. I think you guys in Watchtower needs a new PR guy. Either that, he didn't read this article. I mean, this is like a tourism ad for Juarez, Mexico. Oh yeah, come visit us. We'll ruin your life, maybe even kill you. Shattering your dreams and hopes of a normal life? Watchtower, that's not a good incentive to get people to come to your cult.
No. Well, here again, it just goes to, just to reiterate what we've said before about Watchtower articles. Do these guys not comprehend what they're putting to paper and ink. I mean, you know, granted it goes on, yet she did not hesitate to fulfill her father's vow, but to put in the same paragraph the ruination of a woman's life, and yet she did not hesitate to have her father ruin her life and sell it as something wonderful from Jehovah.
Well, look at this sentence here at the end of paragraph 2. They were convinced that gaining God's approval was worth any sacrifice.
But at the same time, look at what David said at Psalms 127:3. Look, sons are an inheritance from Jehovah. The fruitage of the belly is a reward. So not only did Jephthah's daughter lose out on an inheritance, I mean, we all look for some sort of inheritance in life. She also is missing out on the fruitage of her belly. It's a reward. Now, wait a minute.
She's denied.
She's denied. And those Jehovah's Witnesses that succumb to this nonsense are denied the very same thing. And I have a real life experience, and I'm going to relate at some point, because it's truly, truly sad from the mindset of a Jehovah's Witness. It truly is.
We know that it is not always easy to stay faithful to Jehovah.
Well, that's because Watchtower almost makes it impossible, don't they? Yeah.
Staying faithful despite worldly influences.
Now, this is paragraph 4. Now, this one here, I'm going to take a little bit of issue with.
Yeah.
Because it talks about this right here.
Yeah. Exterminate.
Well, okay, let's just go right from, we're going to read the first part of paragraph 4.
Okay, let's just read paragraph 4. Every day, Jephthah and his daughter would have been reminded of the disastrous consequences of unfaithfulness to Jehovah.
Now, isn't that what Jehovah's Witnesses do today? Oh. There are disastrous consequences when you leave the organization. You leave the organization and, well, we're going to hold your family as ransom until you come back to Jehovah.
Well, look at the letter your mom sent you. She just automatically assumed, you know, that you had left God, because she says, I raised you to love God.
Well.
So she just assumes that we no longer believe in God, I guess.
Yeah. Your attempt to talk to me has not gone unnoticed. I wish things were different between us. So I've given some thought about you before I write this letter. You were raised in a home and taught to believe in God. Along with that belief, you were taught to respect the rights of others. Really. People have the right to choose for themselves what they want to believe. I'm going to stop right there. Because first of all, those of you that have watched our YouTube channel long enough know that I still profess a belief in God and Christ. I just had to redefine who they were. It's not Jehovah. It's not the Watchtower Babel Crap Society. It's something other. But the thing is there's something in this paragraph that Jehovah's Witnesses fail to see conclusively, and my mother fails at the same thing, because she says, I taught you to respect the rights of others. People have the right to choose for themselves what they want to believe. And this is where this paragraph's going to come in.
Yeah. You must be thinking of Evie's video.
Yes, I am.
Evie Brooklyn did a video. Loved you. Loved the video. Yeah. Love you, sweetie. It was great because she is covering the 1947 Awake about excommunication and how the Catholic Church, witnesses are condemning the Catholic Church in this article for excommunication, and they use the same scriptures to prove it a pagan practice that they use now to convince witnesses that this is discipline from Jehovah.
Yeah, you can name it, Jehovah's Witnesses, excommunication. You can name it shunning. You can name it disfellowshipping. And you can even classify it as discipline from Jehovah. But it amounts to the very same thing.
Yeah,
it's a separation of family.
Evie's video is called JWs and Paganism. And I believe she did it last year.
Yeah, this was a year.
Yeah.
But the point that I want to read is right here. It says, every day, Jephthah and his daughter would have been reminded of the disastrous consequences of unfaithfulness to Jehovah. Nearly 300 years earlier, their forefathers had been commanded to exterminate all the pagan being the operative word, inhabitants of the Promised Land. Now here's the thing. We know that as Jehovah's Witnesses, we were taught that celebrating the holidays such as Christmas, Easter, and everything else is all paganism. And if you come to Jehovah's organization, one of the first things that Watchtower uses as a control mechanism is that when you leave Jehovah's Witnesses, you return to the world and you begin to start celebrating these pagan holidays. And in the mind of a Jehovah's Witness, this really becomes a hate mechanism. I hate because they go back to celebrating these pagan holidays. Being a supermarket during the holidays and they're playing Christmas jingles. Oh, I hate this time of year. But yet what Jehovah's Witnesses don't realize that in this Watchtower article that Evie was referring to and that Kim just mentioned, disfellowshipping, excommunication, discipline from Jehovah, Watchtower qualifies it as being a pagan practice. So, Mom, welcome to the world of paganism. I'm going to die right along with you. Do you see how ridiculous a Watchtower article like this now becomes? But the thing is that people have the right to choose for themselves what they want to believe. But people, Mom, Jehovah's Witnesses, you do not know that the Watchtower Bible Crap Society has qualified the disfellowshipping, excommunication, discipline from Jehovah in the same category as paganism and celebrating Christmas. It's the same thing. So yeah, you have the right to believe what you want, but you should at least know what you believe.
Yeah. And hopefully I'll get a chance. I've got a scan of that. It's just a one-page article type deal. And when I get a chance, I'll go put it on our website. And so you can go to watchtower.expose and click on blog, and it'll be in the list of blogs.
That page is getting sent to my mother, too.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, because it's just absolutely ridiculous that they will condemn the world for celebrating pagan holidays, but yet the very disfellowshipping practice, according to Watchtower's literature, has pagan roots. Unbelievable.
Well, that's why I loved it when Anna informed that elder that even wedding rings are pagan, have pagan roots.
You know,
oh, but that's okay. That's different. Neckties have pagan roots, but they sure wear those.
Where do you draw the line? Well, you draw the line when their theology and their teaching destroys families. That's where you draw the line.
Yeah. Just like them cherry picking what Mosaic law they're going to follow.
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes on right after that in paragraph 4. It says, the Israelites' failure to obey led many of them to adopt the sinful ways of the Canaanites, causing them to become ensnared by false gods and degenerate, immoral practices.
Wait a minute. How does hiding the pedophilia problem not qualify as immoral practices? How does that not qualify as a degenerate? It does.
First thing I think of as degenerate is when Jeffrey Jackson said, well, if you guys enact laws to where it makes it mandatory to report child abuse cases, then we will have to comply. No, that's degenerate thinking. That's immoral.
Wasn't it Gilbert with J.W. Crisis made that point? Wasn't it him that made that point in a video? You're the faithful and discreet slave, Watchtower.
You're supposed to be
supposed to be above the laws. You don't need a law to tell you how to be morally clean and morally upright, do you? But no, you do, because it shows where your mindset is in the gutter along with everybody else.
But Jehovah has given us clear warnings, just as he did the Israelites, to safeguard us from such influences. Will we learn from the mistakes of the Israelites?
No.
Obviously not. We must strive to remove any trace of Canaanite-like thinking from our lives.
So what about the disfellowshipping policy? Isn't that pagan? Isn't that Canaanite?
Protecting pedophiles?
Protecting pedophiles? My goodness. Do you guys not read this stuff before you put it out to print? Apparently the governing body doesn't read it. Otherwise, the governing body would be saying, wait a tick, somebody on YouTube is going to destroy this article and see it for the bullshit that it is. My goodness.
Yeah.
I really think a third grader could write a better article than what these monkeys' asses are writing here. My goodness.
So you're really going to love this next paragraph.
Okay, bring it on.
Okay, number 7. Remaining faithful despite disappointment. Yeah, now they're going to go into, you know, your problems with elders you've had through the years.
Oh,
and
no.
most others have had problems with elders. Okay, in Jephthah's day, the disobedience of the Israelites resulted in their becoming enslaved to the Philistines and the Ammonites. However, Jephthah's challenges came not only from the enemy nations, but also from his own brothers and the leaders of Israel. Jealousy and...
You mean, in modern day terms, that should be elders in the 144,000 or the governing body.
Oh yeah, like I said, you were going to love this one. Jealousy and hatred moved his half-brothers to drive him away, illegally depriving him of his rightful inheritance as firstborn. Jephthah refused to allow their cruel behavior to control his attitude. Instead of spitefully ignoring a plea for help from the elders of the nation, he came to their aid. Oh yeah.
Well, this is going to be a... Yeah, I almost have half a mind to go, but they won't call on me but long hair and a goatee, will they?
No.
I'd love to sit here during this particular Watchtower study article and just, you know, point out all the inconsistencies in their bullshit.
He knew that Jehovah...
Now, this is paragraph 8, right?
Yeah, paragraph 8, the end. He knew that Jehovah disapproved of holding grudges. Rather, God required that his people love one another. The law also taught that a person must not ignore the needs of others, even of someone who hates him.
Man, Watchtower does not qualify at all in this study article, do they?
I know it. So I'm going to skip down here to the end of paragraph 9. The fight to defend Jehovah's name was more important to Jephthah than any personal conflicts.
Okay, so and that's exactly what Jehovah's Witnesses practice today. They'd rather not point out personal conflicts than to bring reproach upon Jehovah's name or the congregation. And that's why for decades they've hidden the pedophilia and the child abuse problem.
Oh yeah, don't bring reproach on
the congregation or Jehovah's name.
So paragraph 10. Perhaps we have experienced disappointment or ill treatment from certain Christian brothers. If so, we should not allow such challenges to hold us back from attending Christian meetings or serving Jehovah and being with the congregation to the full. In imitation of Jephthah, we too can allow divine standards to help us overcome negative circumstances and continue to be a force for the good. My goodness. Paragraph 15. It says, when we dedicated our lives to Jehovah, we vowed that we would do his will unreservedly. We knew that living up to that promise would require self-sacrifice. However, our willingness is especially put to the test when we are asked to do things that are not initially to our liking. When we make such sacrifices and serve God in a way that takes us out of our comfort zone, we prove ourselves faithful. The resulting blessings are always far greater than any sacrifices we may make, painful as they may be.
Okay, let me...
So that's when we get into the remaining single and childless.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Finish up with the remaining single and childless.
They mentioned Samuel, how he was dedicated to the temple because of a vow his mom made. But they bring out that he was a Nazirite. And a Nazirite was able to marry and have a family. So it's okay for a guy, to marry and have a family. But Jephthah's daughter was to be a whole burnt offering. She would have to forego such joys. Here we go again with your life is ruined.
Your life is ruined.
She sacrificed her natural desires for a husband and children in order to promote true worship. How might we imitate her self-sacrificing attitude? Paragraph 17. Thousands of young Christian men and women are willingly sacrificing marriage or are not having children, at least for now, in order to serve Jehovah to the full. Older ones, too, may be sacrificing the time they could otherwise spend with their children and grandchildren in order to work on theocratic construction projects or to attend the school for kingdom evangelizers and to serve in areas where the need for kingdom publishers is greater. Others set aside personal matters to share in service campaigns during the memorial season. Such wholehearted service brings deep joy to Jehovah, who will never forget their work and the love shown for him. So what about the older sisters and widows that are in Bethel that are being kicked out now?
Oh yeah, well Jehovah's done with them.
I guess.
He has no more use for them. So
they've given wholehearted service and are childless to give Watchtower their all. And now how's Watchtower thanking them? Kicking them out on the streets.
Yep.
Sad.
Yeah, it is. And here's the experience, and I'm going to relate. When we was in Cottonwood, Arizona congregation, we became friends. Well, he ended up being the presiding overseer for a while. And he was also one of the elders I wrote to Watchtower about. Because he made a very scathing comment regarding his wife's backside and a hole in the ground. And I'll let you figure out the rest of that from that point. But I remember one day, and now this was an older couple, and I remember one day out in service with this particular brother. And he was bragging that, now keep in mind, his first wife had passed away and he took a second wife, and his second wife was in the missionary work. And when they got married, she was 50 years old and she was past the childbearing point in her life. But I remember being out in service with this brother one day, and he was bragging that he had married a 50-year-old virgin.
First of all, that's one thing not to be talking about out in service.
Yeah, you don't bring up stuff like that in service. And and he was talking, bragging like it was some sort of conquest, because he was smiling from ear to ear. That's not the issue, and that's not the point that I'm getting at. The thing is this has been over 20-something years, so she is, and I don't know whether she's alive or dead, but according to Watchtower teaching, that if you die in this system of things and are granted the resurrection, you're going to become like the angels. Neither will you be married nor be given in marriage. Which means this poor sister not only waited till later in life to serve Jehovah as a missionary. If she passes away and is resurrected in the new system, she will not have a husband. This woman will spend all of eternity childless.
Alone.
And yet, the scriptures say that children are an inheritance and a blessing. This is an inheritance and a blessing from Jehovah that this woman will never, ever, ever be a part of. Think about it, Jehovah's Witnesses. Does this make sense?
I was just going to say,
this is illogical.
Does it make sense?
This is illogical. But this is the mind concept of Jehovah's Witnesses when you choose to remain childless and give Jehovah your all. If this is what's going to happen, you pass away before bearing children, you're never ever going to have children in this new paradise that you so proudly preach about. What a sad, sad reality for this poor woman.
Yeah. So they end this article by saying, may we be like Jephthah and his daughter by living in harmony with a fundamental truth that their lives highlight. Faithfulness leads to God's approval. So unless you do these things, I guess you can't have Jehovah's approval.
Nope. It's all manipulation.
Unbelievable.
Again, another cult tactic, instilling the fear of God in you to control you. And that's what these religions do. They use the fear of God to control you.
Yeah. So, this is from the April 2016 Watchtower Study magazine. And so if you want to check it out for yourself, it's on jw.org. But I will ask this again. How does this not sound like a tourism ad for Juarez, Mexico?
Come and visit.
You know, or one of those other, horrible countries where they have, this war going on, because it shatters your dreams and hopes of a normal life. And, some of us who have come out and look back, and that is why we do have this anger, because it does shatter your lives, and it makes you angry. Our son and daughter, because of this, had a vasectomy, and I've mentioned it before, so they cannot have children now.
We limited our family to one because of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't get an education, and I know we all keep harping on this, but I don't think people realize how damaging this religion can be on people's lives.
Well, these are very real, tangible consequences, aren't they? Aren't they? Very real, tangible consequences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why we keep speaking out, because of the damage this cult does to people's lives. And I don't care what they say or what they claim, they do break up families.
Well, here it is. I'm going to continue reading from my mother's letter. So, I am asking you to respect my rights as I respect yours. Please, Michael, leave me alone. Don't write to me, don't call me, and don't leave messages on my phone. You've made your choices, and I respect your right to choose. I have made my choices, so please respect me. But, Mom, your choice has separated us as a family unit because you refuse to see that the disfellowshipping policy that Watchtower has is a pagan practice. The same practice that you've condemned the world to death. Paganism. Welcome to your death. If you're going to continue to believe that and practice this disfellowshipping, then you face the same thing that you condemn the world to death.
Yeah. And like I said, I will take that excommunication article, and actually I'll just put it in my Dropbox, and I'll put a link down below in the description. So you can just click on that and see that page.
I would love for a current Jehovah's Witness watching our videos that has the intestinal fortitude to bring up that article during this particular Watchtower study article, this study edition during this meeting, and see what kind of response you're going to get from the congregation and or your body of elders. If you do that, you might as well just kiss your family goodbye, because you will be.
Well, I was going to say, brother, sister, so-and-so, can we talk to you in the back room?
Yep, exactly.
Can pretty much guarantee it.
Yeah, but the fact remains is that the information is there, and Watchtower had the audacity to criticize the Catholic Church for using an excommunication doctrine, a pagan practice, and then years later Watchtower gladly adopts it. Wow. The epitome of hypocrisy.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So thanks for watching this particular rant. I had fun.
Thanks for watching. Yeah, he's got a rant once in a while, and this just screamed rant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when I read that first paragraph, it's like, oh my God, is that an incentive for young ones to stay a witness and to do more in God's service, not to have kids or maybe stay single?
Well, what was every Israelite woman looking for during those days?
Families.
Families, to take care of them in their older age, but not only that, they were also hoping that the promised seed would come through their lineage. And Jephthah's daughter, quoting this article, gave that up also. Yeah.
Well, they even talk about, it was a great sacrifice for Jephthah because she apparently was his only one. And there goes his
heirs.
So, ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So, shout out to everybody. Thank you for watching. And we send our love to everybody.
Catch you later.
Bye.